Hi everyone, welcome to the world, welcome to all my friends, and I'm delighted to be able to talk to you today from Copenhagen. Well, let me first of all say that I'm enjoying this city tremendously. It's one of the loveliest cities I've been to, and I've had a very lovely morning here because the sun is shining, it's warm, and I haven't had that for quite some time. But it has a lovely feel to it. And if you hear a lot of shouting and screaming going on in the background, bear with it. It's very justified because it is the day of the triathlon, which is running through the streets here. And I haven't seen one before, and it's quite interesting. It seems utterly uncontrolled, but I am told that they have to either ride a bicycle or a motorcycle or run. And then they have to do 2 kilometers. They have to run 2 kilometers when they get off the bicycles. And then they have to swim across the bay, or whatever it's called, wherever it is. And it's pretty cold down there, I can tell you. And then they have to do the whole thing coming back as well. So it's quite an arduous thing. A lot of young people. I haven't seen many females, I have to say. Come on, girls, what are you doing? And of course, the streets are sealed off, makes it very difficult for cars to get in and out of. It's right outside this hotel, and it makes it quite difficult. But we don't care because there's such jollity and humour in the air. This morning, I'd had a very good night's rest, a really good night's rest, a long sleep, and I got up early, and I saw the sunshine coming through the windows, and I thought, out, let's get out. So I went out. And I went and got my way through the tapes that had been erected for the triathlon, and found my way into a little cafe, which was very nice, run by Dutch people, by Danish people, and had the most delightful breakfast. I wasn't going to eat at the hotel, far too expensive. And I didn't want to do all that buffet thing. Anyway, I sat down and had the most delightful breakfast. It was Eggs Benedict, which is one of my favorites. And it was also one of my David's great favorites, because when we lived in New York, he would always go for Eggs Benedict when we lived in the village. And it usually meant that you had vodka with it. So he really enjoyed that. So it had happy memories for me, but it was delicious. It had berries in it. It had avocado and everything. And it was really quite delicious with some orange juice and coffee. And I really enjoyed that. And then after that, I was looking for somewhere to get some money out of a machine, and there aren't many in Copenhagen. But I walked and I walked and I walked, and I suddenly found an enormously beautiful square, which led on to the kind of walkways, not walkways, waterways, and where there were hundreds of people, loads of tourists, and they were queuing up to go on boats and things, to be taken on joyrides. And it was a very happy atmosphere. Wasn't noisy, wasn't unpleasant. A lot of tourists dominate all cities now, and tourist attractions. And on either side of the waterways, of course, there were yachts and very expensive boats, and also lovely restaurants and cafes right the way along for about a mile. And so I thought, well, I'll go and have a cup of coffee. So after I'd got some money out of a machine, I went and sat down and had some coffee. There was a rather indifferent waitress, I have to say, who was not particularly nice, but she talked me into having another breakfast. So I had a couple of fried eggs and things like that, you know, but all that again. But I was very thirsty. So that was lovely, sitting in the blazing sunshine, overdressed, I might add, because I didn't know what it was going to be like when I went out. And I sat and watched all these tourists going by, and watched the little dogs making friends with each other. And it was quite crowded, but very jolly. And then I walked back, and I walked, I suppose, about 2 or 3 kilometers, which is not bad for me. And finally found my way back to the hotel. Of course, Copenhagen is a very special city in Scandinavia. I mean, its culture alone. I mean, it's got that little mermaid, which I hope to see tomorrow. I'll probably take one of those bus tours because I have a date with her. And of course, one must not forget that it is the home of Hans Christian Andersen and those wonderful fairy tales of his. The Tin Drummer and The Little Mermaid, of course. Oh, so many of them. Many years ago, I was asked by BBC Television to actually do an adaptation of his stories in one foul swoop in Chroma Key, a 2-hour spectacular, but it never came off. I'm very sorry about that because the stories are delightful. And they would have been done differently to that rather mushy Danny Kaye film, Hans Christian Andersen, with all those Hollywood songs in it. Nice songs though they were. But I'd love to have done that. But it is a city of great charm. It has a royal theatre. It has the Royal Danish Ballet. It has a great jazz centre here, and they play jazz on boats as you're going by. It has a rich history going back to the 10th century. I believe Lord Nelson attacked the city once when the Norwegians and the Danish were partners in some sort of dispute. However, that was a long time ago. So there are lots of things to see. I want to go and obviously look at the great tourist attraction, which is the Tivoli Gardens tomorrow. And then the Amalienborg Palace, the Royal Palace, and so on. So it's a very beautiful city, and I felt very much at peace with myself this morning, as I'm sure you can tell from my presentation now. I don't feel it's the moment for funny jokes. I've done enough of those silly jokes for the time being. And I've really enjoyed myself, and I'm not unhappy. I'm happy. And I thought how lovely and how lucky I am to be here, and how nice to be able to talk to some of the Danish people. Well, a very nice race. This is the second time I've been here in 3 weeks, as you know. I stayed with my friends, the Andersen family, where did I stay? Holberg, of course I did. And I really enjoyed that, and I hope they're all well. Anne and Christina and Benino, dear Benino, who wrote me such beautiful things. And so I really admire the Danish race, because I have not seen any thuggery, I've not seen any bad behavior, and they're all very pleasant. At the hotel, they're all very, very nice. The hotel itself is extraordinary, and I will try and bring some pictures back with me and film, because it seems to me to be an old warehouse of some sort. It's vast. It's vast. I should think it's probably got several hundred rooms. And as you can see from these beautiful beams, they're pretty lovely, aren't they? And they're all over the place. And as I say, it's a very nice experience. And I hope you won't mind my being a little bit calm today. I am calm and enjoying myself. I'm going to, after 2 breakfasts, I'm not having any lunch, but I'm going to have a little nap. Surprise, surprise. And then I'm going to, I might go out for another little stroll in the sunshine. I might tell you I've been talking to various people about Help for Heroes here, and they're all very much on it. The waiter who served me when I was out on my walks asked me what I was doing here, and I told him, and he was full of admiration. And he's taken down my Just for Giving number, and hopefully he'll contribute to it, but who knows. But they are very supportive of it because, you know, the Danes have fought in these war zones as well, so they've had some pretty bad times. So I'm doing my bit for Help for Heroes while I'm here. I'm also giving out one or two of the flyers, which I've been asked to autograph, and I have done. And so all in all, so far, it's only my first day here. It's been a very successful first day and a very enjoyable first day. So if you've got any questions to ask about me in Copenhagen, you know that I'm absolutely useless as far as information is concerned, but at least it might spur you on to wanting to find out about things. Who knows? And don't forget what we're doing. It's the Arctic Adventure. There it is. The Arctic Adventure is still going on. It's getting shorter now. I think I've got about 9 days left, and then I shall be back home. But in the meantime, I'm enjoying this adventure, the adventure which has led me now to Copenhagen. I'm here until Tuesday morning when I shall be leaving for Hamburg. So I'll speak to you tonight. So if you've got any questions to ask in the meantime, please do so. And it's always good to see. I always feel when I'm talking to the camera that I'm talking to all of you, because I have no one else to talk to except occasionally to the people in the street. Anyway, have a nice afternoon if it's an afternoon where you are throughout the world. Have a nice Sunday, a nice restful Sunday, and I'll speak to you tonight. All right? Bye for now.